The news of Sam's untimely death has left the residents of Port Charles in shock, each reeling in their own way. But the rawest pain belongs to her mother, Alexis, whose grief is compounded by a nagging suspicion that she may somehow be responsible for her own daughter's demise. Even before this doubt crept in, Alexis was shattered. Sam was her anchor, her fierce and fearless daughter, and the cornerstone of her family. Sam's absence now casts a void, reverberating through every aspect of Alexis's life, leaving her grappling not just with grief, but with an unbearable sense of guilt. This overwhelming sorrow has put her entire world into question. How could such a tragedy befall the family, and why is there a lingering shadow over her role in the events leading to it? The situation with Sam has spun beyond comprehension for those who loved her most. Her siblings, Christina, Molly, and Lucas, struggle to understand how such a pivotal person in their lives is gone, taken by an incomprehensible sequence of events. Her children, Danny and Scout, are left to grow up without their mother's warmth and guidance. Dante, her fiancé, stands at a loss, mourning the future they'll never have. Yet the man seemingly at the epicenter of this tragedy, Sonny, watches from a distance, holding his own secrets. GH viewers are familiar with the enigma that is Sonny, often a man of conflicting values. But his connection to Sam's death has plunged him into even darker territory. Rumors swirl that Sonny may have killed Agent Jagger, a figure whose fate remains a puzzle. The ambiguity surrounding Sonny's involvement and the strange moral contradictions he embodies fuel suspicion and intrigue in the community, hinting at truths that remain hidden and motives that might run deeper than anyone suspects. Meanwhile, Alexis's initial actions in this tragedy stemmed from nothing more than a fierce maternal instinct. When her daughter Christina was implicated, Alexis intervened to protect her at all costs, discarding a weapon that she believed Christina had used. She assumed, wrongly, that removing the gun from the scene would shield her daughter from any consequences, unwittingly setting off a chain of events that would eventually entangle Sam. Alexis's decision to dispose of the weapon in the Port Charles River seemed like a reasonable solution at the time, one last effort to protect her family, even if it meant bending the rules. In retrospect, this choice feels like the first link in a tragic chain, one that now haunts her with every new revelation. It's an act that, although driven by love, now feels like a curse, forcing Alexis to confront the unintended harm she may have brought upon her loved ones. It was Sam's sense of duty that led her to her fatal decision. An expert diver, she offered to retrieve the gun from the river, not fully aware of the price this simple act of bravery might demand. She understood that finding the gun was vital to proving her mother's innocence, but as she descended into the water, few could have predicted the real danger lurking beneath. While the cause of death was not the drowning viewers feared, her dive triggered a deadly physiological process known as the bends. During her dive, nitrogen bubbles formed in her bloodstream, a common risk for divers, which can cause fatal embolisms when unchecked. Sam, fully aware of the risks, likely believed she could manage them. But it was this very determination and courage that set her on a tragic course. The complexity of diving-related injuries is often underestimated, and Sam's decision not to inform her surgical team of her recent dive only compounded the danger. Had she disclosed the dive, doctors could have taken additional measures, perhaps altering her treatment or running crucial tests to avoid the cascade of complications that followed. The embolism, a lurking, silent threat, entered her bloodstream and made its way to her brain, ultimately claiming her life in a way none could have foreseen. The irony that her act of devotion to her mother would result in her death is a cruel twist that haunts those who knew her. The diving accident raises unsettling questions. Was Sam's death a tragic accident, or could it have been avoided?